Well, at least once stream delay stops making me look like a liar.
Yep. I mean, we all know you're a liar anyway, so there's no use in trying to hide it.
Ah! You cut me deep with your words, TGH.
Alright, so the runners are off. Now they're off. And to wait a little bit. So I'll explain a little bit about the category, I guess. This is Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. No save and quit, no wrong warp, no out of bounds, or officially no wrong warp, no out of bounds, no save and quit, but whatever. It's no squoob, not no whoop squoob. So anyway, we have no save and quit. You can't save and quit. It's as simple as that. We are going to be utilizing the save and quit menu a bunch of times throughout the run, but we won't actually be saving and quitting. I'll get to that later, or we'll get to that later, whatever. No wrong warp. That's a little bit more complicated to explain. Basically, when you transition screens or go through a warp, you have to go where the developers intended you to go. So it's that simple, I guess. Out of bounds, you cannot be more than 4 pixels outside the boundaries for where you're supposed to go. So you can clip into a wall as many as 3 pixels, but you can't go outside of that. So both players getting the sword.
Yep, and it's a good thing you mentioned that the distinction for out of bounds is 4 pixels, because something you're going to be seeing both of them do frequently is push right up against a corner, which actually is called wall clipping, and it lets you clip anywhere between 1 to 3 pixels, which is used in all over the place to optimize movement, and in several cases, particularly dungeons, to do super jumps, and in other cases to allow you to facilitate other tricks. You see Final Flame stopping to get a safety heart, and that's because they're both on their way to the Mysterious Woods for the first major trick of the run, and also one of the biggest reset points in anyone's PB attempts. Basically, normally the game intends you to go through this long quest to get magic powder, so that you can get the Dungeon 1 key, but instead, both of them are going to be taking advantage of one of the many moblins around here to damage boost across a pit. That's called Moblin Skip, and you'll be seeing them both get to it here in a moment.
The Moblin affectionately referred to as Blastoise, as you'll see in a couple of seconds. So Giuocob coming up upon it now.
I didn't actually know that.
Well, he's a Blastoise, just look at him. So he's going to face up, just like that, and that was absolutely perfect for Giuocob. That was actually pretty splendid, to be honest. He faced up immediately, and Giuocob took advantage. Also, you saw Giuocob do something on the D1 key chest there. He paused exactly the frame after opening the chest. It's a frame-perfect trick, and then buffered a save and quit menu out of that, and that allowed him to leave the screen without the owl talking.
And Final Flame also getting the owl skip, so they're both up to a pretty strong start here.
Absolutely.
And now off to something that's a little bit less random. It's time to get ourselves some magic powder after all, using the trendy game, which turns out never was really trendy, even back in the 90s when it was first released.
No, it's pretty trendy, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, it's pretty trendy. I mean, just look at it. It's trendy.
Ooh, Giuocob, I thought was going to miss it there for a moment, but he got it.
Don't argue, it's trendy.
Alright. I won't argue. Never was much a trendsetter myself, and this just goes to prove it even more, I guess.
Neither was I.
But the good news is they both got it first try. No second try trendy here today. Now for the second and last thing we'll be doing here in the village, it's time to go shopping, by which I mean steal things and also buy some things.
Don't steal things, kids. Unless you're speedrunning LADX, then you can steal things.
Yes. Because in the game, it's not real. Spoiler alert. But we're going to be stealing the shovel, buying a couple sets of bombs, and then stealing the bow. The bow being a very expensive late-game item, but we're just going to get it now, because having an item this powerful early on allows us to do many things, the least of which is make an absolute joke out of a couple of mini-bosses.
He wants to grind rupees, right?
Absolutely, grinding rupees in a speedrun is the fastest strat of all. But with that, both of them are done doing their shopping and are on their way to the first dungeon.
So you see Giuocob seemingly arbitrarily killing some enemies on the way down to D1. What he's actually doing is he's setting up for a piece of power drop way later in the game in D2. And what piece of power does, it makes you move 25% faster, and it's based on kill count when it drops. So after, I believe it's 30 kills, he'll get a piece of power drop, and he's looking to have it in a certain room, I believe, if he does that strat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he'll be like, again, seemingly arbitrarily killing a bunch of enemies on the way to D2. And also on the way to D3. Actually, not as much on the way to D3, but also on the way to D5.
Yeah, for the first several dungeons, basically, they'll be keeping very close eye on the enemies they kill and where they kill them in order to make sure that the piece of power drops when and where you want it to. Because in certain dungeons, particularly Dungeon 5, having piece of power drop outside of it or in the wrong spot can cost you a lot of time.
Yep. It's pretty crucial in D5, honestly, especially for a runner with the caliber as Giuocob has, to get that piece of power. It can be a difference of about 20 seconds in D5.
Speaking of important items, Giuocob just picked it up and Final Flame is about to get it. The Dungeon 1 item is the Rock's Feather, which is an item we'll be getting a lot of use of for the entirety of this run. Because who would have thought that being able to jump diagonally as well as in any given direction in a 2D Zelda game would actually be mildly game-breaking?
Absolutely. Like, Rock's Feather is widely regarded as the brokest item in the game, and that is why what Giuocob just did. He did something called the Super Jump, and what a Super Jump is effectively fooling the game into thinking that you're jumping off a cliff. So you clip into the wall, face into the wall, jump, and then use an item to redirect yourself away from the wall, and the game thinks you're jumping off a cliff, which takes collision away for a couple seconds. And allows you to jump over, for instance, that key block, and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, but just one of many things we'll be able to take advantage of using wall clipping. And also, speaking of taking advantage of things, the bow and arrow you'll see here on Final Flame, 2 arrows, boom, what mini-boss?
Yep. You'll notice that the mini-bosses, as well as a lot of the bosses in the game, are extremely difficult. Just impossible. Like, actually, Moldorm is about the hardest mini-boss, is about the hardest boss in the game, to be honest with you.
He's not lying either. Oh no, oh no!
Oh.
And yes, he knows a trick to buffer the jump to skip the underground section. Very good. Unfortunately, that means his Moldorm's damage resets, so he has to get another 4 hits, and he gets him this time.
Really clean up time.
Yeah. Yeah, how nice of the game designers just put Moldorm in the very first dungeon.
Some of the bosses in this game are comically bad. D6 boss.
Yeah.
But it's fun either way.
I'm starting to have this weird theory that the D6 boss was basically they were putting it up on like some sort of board or something. Someone just drew a smiley face, not sure, as a placeholder, and someone thought that was actually what it was supposed to be.
I wouldn't doubt that, to be honest with you. It's as good a theory as any other.
No kidding. Oh, Giuocob getting himself a Guardian Acorn drop, which we will disregard every single time it drops. We don't want the Guardian Acorn, because if you pick it up by accident, you have to deal with the animation of picking it up, and also, Piece of Power can't drop while it's active, so...
Yeah, Guardian Acorns are pretty useless. Alright, so now Giuocob is going to pick up our run-long companion, Bow Wow. We'll be having Bow Wow for the rest of the run, by the way. So Bow Wow helps in a lot of ways, and he also doesn't help in a lot of ways, which we'll get to later. But for now, Bow Wow's going to open up D2 for us by eating the flowers in front of it.
Well, at least we hope he will, quickly. Because if he's not feeling hungry...
He might not, actually. He might not eat the flower at all, just saying.
It's
pulling off a flat clip past the rock there, using the text box to clip farther into the wall.
Yeah, another example of a thing you can do with wall clipping. And okay,
I'm
Bow
having a
Wow was,
little bit of trouble with the flowers, but overall okay.
but he got it though. And we talked about Piece of Power, so if his routing has been right, he's gonna get Piece of Power in this room right here. Not quite.
Maybe 1 or 2 kills late.
Yeah, so hopefully... Sometimes I know some folks actually like to give themselves a little bit of extra leeway, just in case Bao decides to eat 2 flowers instead of just 1. Right there. There you go.
There's his Piece of Power right there. So as you can see, Giuocob moving noticeably faster now.
Uncontrollably fast, taking a fall into the pit, unfortunately. But the good news for him is that you lose it after 3 hits, but only 3 hits from enemies. You can fall into a pit as many times as you want, and it won't affect your hit count for Piece of Power.
Unless you die. Dying
Yes.
also takes away from Piece of Power, but I don't foresee a Giuocob dying in this one.
Oh.
To be honest with you.
Yeah. Thankfully, Final Flame did not have his count exact there, because his Bow Wow did in fact eat 2 flowers, but I didn't see Piece of Power drop there. So he should get it in this room or the next room, hopefully.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Piece of Power and an acorn.
Okay, thankfully he manages to pick up only the good one.
So this room with the ghosts, voila. I don't know why that works. But basically, they chase you, and then you snuggle up to the transition, swipe your sword once while they're a tile or less away from you, and they'll just kind of leave the screen to the opposite direction.
I'm not sure what's up with that.
Because programming.
Yeah, but on the plus side...
Basically, it's just how the ghosts are programmed, and there's obviously a flaw in the coding. Giuocob pulling off the 3-kill room pretty well.
Thankfully, in Dungeon 2, which is a dungeon full of pots, another thing Piece of Power does is it makes the picking up animation faster, which is always convenient.
By the way, remember earlier when I mentioned that the mini-bosses are impossible in this game? Watch Final Flame's fight with Hinox right here.
Did we mention that Piece of Power does more damage?
He just barely pulled it off. That was pretty good.
Oh my goodness. As death was staring him in the face.
So Giuocob's gonna do a pretty cool quick kill here if he can pull it off. So if you clip into the wall and throw the pot there, it'll shatter in 1 hit instead of taking 3 like it normally does in casual play. And then with a well-placed bomb and a well-timed bomb arrow there, the D2 boss is dead. And that's D2.
Yep, another reason we pick up the bow early on is because of bomb arrows. If you push bomb and the arrow button at the same time within, I want to say, what, 4 frames of each other, then is...
Yeah, I think Final Flame might be having problems with his controller again.
Oh no.
Is he okay, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's having trouble picking up the pots. He mentioned earlier that his controller was registering tap inputs instead of holding inputs.
Yeah.
And that would be a product of that.
Yeah, because in order to pick things up in this game, you hold down the button and push away. Oh gosh, apparently his controller's turbo is turned on and won't turn off, which makes it impossible to pick things up with the bracelet.
Oof. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, I completely feel for him with the controller issues.
Oh gosh.
He just saved and quit. Yikes, that's really unfortunate. Wow. Okay, he seemed to have fixed it. He said we good in the chat.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we have Giuocob coming up on Villa Skip, or Richard Skip. So essentially what's happening here is he's pausing and falling into the hole on the same frame, and that kind of gravitates him towards the lowest possible pixel of the hole, and allows him to transition down into the maze. And that allows you to skip all of Candlelight Castle.
Which is good.
Yes, that's very good. It's a
pretty long side quest.
It's just barely faster. On average. Not really, it's actually significant. It's like...
Minutes.
I want to say 4 minutes faster.
Yeah. And it's worth mentioning though that even though Finalflame had to save and quit to take care of that, it is not the end of the run because we actually have provisions in case of accidental or in this case necessary save and quits, which is the runner has to return to the room where they save and quit in order to basically more or less continue where they left off to make sure they didn't take a save warp essentially. So since he just passed through the room where he was when he had to save and quit, then he can continue where he left off. Thankfully, because if that would have been instant forfeit, then that would have been very unfortunate. Because that's pretty much what happened to him in the last race, and we none of us want to see that.
So Giuocob pretty soon is going to be coming up on a skip called the Dongo skip. Excuse me. Where he's going to be doing a super jump and clinking off of one of the dongos, the dongo snakes, and essentially launching himself not out of bounds, but like out of the area of the room over this rock or over the block. He failed it the first time. It's a pretty tricky jump. There it is.
Yeah.
This jump is pretty soft lock prone, but hopefully we'll have none of that in this race.
Yeah. Thankfully, Piece of Power makes it a lot easier to make it across that soft locking, and also if you happen to mess up the setup, you can actually leave the room and re-enter. So that one's one that is a bit more forgiving than some of the other super jumps you may have to deal with later.
Yep. Yeah, there are a couple other places in this run that are kind of soft lock prone if you're not careful, but and there's the second one, so you have to do it twice.
And another flat clip to get into the underground tunnel, and Giuocob's on his way to the Dungeon 3 boss, while Finalflame grabs the instrument in Dungeon 2.
So you'll notice the boss of D3, once Giuocob bonks the wall here, that Vitreous is missing a few of his eyes from Link to the Past. But anyway, so you split the eye with the boots. It works a little differently than Link to the Past. Split the eye with the boots, hit one, and then Giuocob did a specific setup there that you can only do with Piece of Power, involving a bonk and a slash to hit the first eye that falls and avoid its shock when it hits the ground. And it's a pretty simple boss when you do it like that.
Yeah, but if things start going south with that boss, it'll start hurting you, because it's
true.
It's not exactly a lightweight, so to speak.
True. It definitely, yeah. It doesn't lit up if it hits you.
Goodness, Finalflame on his way to Villa Skip, while Giuocob is heading to another one of the really, really big tricks in the run. So we're in.
Seems to be taking an alternate route. He does this. I remember him doing this. He takes this route to the Walrus, which is really peculiar, but it works for him.
Yeah, I've never seen this route before. But now's probably a good time as any to talk a little bit about bomb triggers. So, bomb triggers. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure which was going to do it, but okay.
Sorry, I kind of zoned out.
All right, I'll do bomb triggers. You can talk about the Walrus. All right, so bomb triggers. Sure. Bombs are one of the most broken items in the game, because if you drop 2 of them within 4 frames, since you normally can't, the game gets a little bit confused, and it just triggers events on whatever screen you're on. The problem is, you can only do it on doing shenanigans like screen transitions or dropping bombs down pit, because otherwise, if there's a bomb on the screen, you can't drop a second one. But it turns so if you use a screen transition like Giuocob just did, well, Walrus skip happens.
Yes. So what he has to do now that he's performed this bomb trigger, he has to leave the screen frame perfectly. So he's going to hold up here. So he's holding up, and he can identify his subpixel. That was the up and right subpixel, I believe. So he had to hold up and right to leave the screen frame perfectly, so that the Walrus could be off the screen. Excuse me, I kind of mixed up my words there. Leave the screen frame perfectly. If he left too late, the bunny would come on the screen, and the game would look for Marin to continue the cutscene, and Marin's not there. So the game soft locks, and you're essentially stuck there. If you left too early, the Walrus wouldn't be gone, and he would also be soft locked that way. By the way, that was Land Mola. That was a mini-boss. Pay no mind. Continue.
It's actually invisible.
Yeah.
That's part of the challenge. That's why it's impossible. We did it anyway because we're just that good.
Compared to how easy he is in Link to the Past, he's really challenging in LADX.
I don't actually remember what it looks like, if I'm perfectly honest.
What, in,
In this game.
I mean, we never see him, I don't blame you.
No, but, yeah. But, yeah, the other thing about bomb triggers is that you saw Giuocob had to go into that cave because it actually deactivates all your buttons except for the D-pad.
Yes.
So you can't even save and quit if you get soft lock. You have to power cycle your system. There's no other way out. Which is why that's the only spot where runners are allowed to have a safety save, because even though we have a lot of really safe and pretty much 100% consistent setups, people will sometimes still soft lock there. It just happens. So we have a backup just in case.
Only in races, though. You can't actually do that in a PB attempt.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Those are single segments, so...
Yeah.
But now Giuocob trying to have time for his memory test to see if he'll remember to actually open Dungeon 4 before he tries to go in.
Looks like he's fine.
Excellent. The journey continues. And interesting fact, I don't know, it's because for one reason or another, this is the only keyhole where we actually put in the key from the correct side throughout this entire run.
Technically, you can put it in from behind, but it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, well...
I've seen people do it.
Oh no,
I've never done it.
I do not doubt it's possible. This game, keyholes in this game are extremely well designed, so I do not doubt that you can put in the key from the other side.
It's actually pretty funny how it looks. You don't even touch the wall, you're like just in the middle of the water and you put it in.
Disclue points out that you put the D6 key in properly as well, and...
Not really. You put it in from, like, above it. Like, because you jump. Well,
yeah.
Most players do, at least.
Yeah, and then other weird things happen which make that anything but a normal door opening, so...
Actually, my bad. You land before you put it... Yeah, you land before you put the key in. Okay, my bad. That's right.
Okay, I'll give you that, but I still say that because of the other weird thing we do with the D6 opening, I'm going to say that it's not quite the same as D4.
It's certainly not intended.
You'll come to find there are a lot of things we do in this game that are not intended, but that's okay. It's part of what makes it a fun run.
Absolutely. So, Giuocob's in D4 now. We're only going to finish half of D4. Because if we were to finish it all now, we would get a little ghost following us around until we completed its side quest and brought it to its home. And it doesn't let you enter any dungeons. And the side quest takes several minutes and is not feasible for the run. So we only finish half of it. We get the flippers, and then we leave and go to D5.
Yeah, because it turns out that the game is checking for a couple of things as to whether or not it makes you do the ghost sub quest, and the one thing that'll actually stop it from happening after finishing D4 is the getting the level 2 power bracelet, which is the dungeon 6 item. So we'll do both D5 and D6 before finishing D4, and actually, Finalflame doing the left side strategy for the walrus skip, which is a little bit faster. So
his pixel looks good too, so he should be good as long as he holds left.
And he gets it.
He's good.
Nicely done.
So Giuocob is going to look for not a piece of power to drop on either of these enemies. That battle might eat them. Okay, he should be good for a piece of power in D5.
Yeah. Yeah, like we said, D5, if you only get piece of power in one dungeon in this run, you want it to be D5.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Catfish's Maw is, I think, actually the longest dungeon as far as amount of time spent in it.
It's by far the longest dungeon, yeah. Most amount of travel, at least. A lot of backtracking.
And that's because
back and forth.
Yeah, that's because of the big gimmick in the dungeon, the mini-boss, Master Stalfos, who decided it would be a good idea to steal the dungeon item from the chest and force you to chase him around the dungeon. There are 4 rooms where you fight him, And you have to go to them in a specific order. You can't just take them in whatever order you want, which is unfortunate.
Speaking of impossible mini-bosses, Giuocob getting that piece of power right where you want it. Perfect, right in the middle of that room.
Yes.
So the thing about piece of power in D5, though, is that when you get hit 3 times, you lose piece of power. So he wants to go through D5 as cleanly as possible, not getting hit. Especially since there are a couple of damage boost strats you can do in the water. There are 2 in total that you can do. I think Giuocob might only go for 1 of them. However, he still doesn't want to get hit, because he wants to maintain piece of power even through those damage boosts.
Yes, but unlike Dungeon 3, though, the Dungeon 5 boss you do not want to have piece of power for. So if he doesn't lose it before then, you're going to see him purposely take a hit at one of the last couple of enemies before hitting the boss door. But he already took an extra hit there, so he might not even take the damage boost in the water then. We'll see what he does.
He did take a hit on the Helmosaurs. They were shoals.
Yeah. Helmosaurs are one of the more annoying things about Dungeon 5. That was the first Master Stalfos fight. Have to hit him with 3 bombs when he is chilling on the ground in pieces. The second and third fights, you only gotta hit him twice, and the final fight, you have to hit him 3 more times. And then he coughs up the bounty of the dungeon, the hookshot.
One of the things I like about D5 is there are a lot of dungeons in this game, and a lot of specific portions of the game which are hard RNG heavy. What I mean by that is there's a lot of RNG that you can't necessarily react to. In D5, there's a lot of RNG in D5. However, you can react to 95% of it, and it makes it a really fun dungeon, in my opinion. For instance, the Helmosaurs, there are a few instances where you can't do anything about a Helmosaur being up against the wall or something, but it's rare, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, the biggest amount of RNG from D5 is the boss, because everything else is something you can definitely deal with, and even the boss you can deal with if you're quick enough.
Even the boss, yeah, the boss is manipulatable. Or not manipulatable, but reactable.
Yeah, but that also makes D5 one of the most challenging dungeons to get really good at, especially when you're first picking the game up.
Definitely.
It's partially because of the dumb jump room too, which Giuocob is in and making look easy.
Flawless. Absolutely flawless from Gio.
First trying to... Oh gosh, Final Flame, no!
Is he having...
He took a death in D4. His health was really low, and he got stuck next to those... I never remember what those things are called.
Tektides?
Are those Tektides?
Spike beetles. Spike beetles.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, yep.
That was unfortunate. Thankfully, of all places to die, he was in the room right next to the start, so he didn't lose a lot of time getting back. Now Giuocob on his way to the final Master Stalfos fight. Words. Oh, taking a 3rd hit though, so his piece of power is gone. Thankfully,
it's okay though. It's okay because there are worse places to lose piece of power than that.
Yeah, at this point he's most of the way done with the dungeon, so the amount of time lost here is going to be very minimal. Oh, there would have been another one right there though. He didn't want to pick it up though, even if it had been able to. At this point, we're going to be about to lose it anyway, so you don't want to pick it up.
It may save a marginal amount of time if you pick it up there, but it's honestly not worth it. It's not worth having to take damage optimally.
Yeah.
Tight call, though. Really, really tough call. Sometimes I take it if I get it there, but it's generally not worth it.
Oh, getting good pattern with those Helmosaurs, just taking them out real quick.
Yep. Yeah, the hookshot makes the second half of D5 pretty trivial, especially with those Helmosaurs. It's slightly faster if you have piece of power to use the sword on the Helmosaurs if you get good RNG. However, the hookshot is a surefire. It takes the RNG out of it, essentially.
Yeah, of course, the downside of the hookshot is that if your aim is bad, you have to wait for it to go all the way out and come all the way back before you can move again, so... And he's about to go in to fight the... What is the actual name of this boss? 'Cause I can never remember for the life of me.
I want to say it's just wall snake. Or slime eel or something.
Something like that.
I think, like, I recall slime eel for some reason.
Which is, I don't know, it's whatever. Okay, it is slime eel. Several folks are mentioning that.
Yeah, I was right. How about that? I was right about something.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud too, to be honest. So Giuocob finishing off D5.
Having a very good boss fight too.
Yep, and pretty good time.
Now, final. Oh, that's right. One of the Finalflame is going to have himself a little bit of a problem now because he took that death in D4. That completely resets his piece of power kill count.
Oh yeah, I think his piece of power count was already kind of weird, though. And this Helmasaur is just saying neener neener.
Helmasaur,
wow,
please.
this Helmasaur, what in the world?
Oh
wow. Okay. There we go.
Not a team player whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, hopefully his controller still cooperates. This is the spot where it started acting up on him last time. And not being able to hold the jump button here can definitely make it impossible to get through there.
Yep.
Giuocob on his way to the Armos Maze, though, because you have to go to the Armos Maze first, because that's where you get the key to open Dungeon 6.
Yep. He's going to be relying on Bow Wow quite heavily here. Well, not quite heavily. He can do everything he needs to with the shield, but Bow Wow can really help you out here. Like, for instance, here, if he eats, there he goes. Nice. It's the Armos statue. He's going to eat a few more. Hopefully he will. And, wow, that statue trolled him.
Yeah. Now, we want Bow to eat statues, not just because it makes moving through here faster, but also because eating a statue drops arrows, and arrows and bombs are something we have to keep a close eye on throughout this run, because we're going to be using them a lot, and we do not want to be running out, especially later on.
Yep. Giuocob does have plenty of arrows, though. He has 6, which is plenty at this point. Giuocob doing a pretty alternate, excuse me, Armos boss strat.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Yeah,
it's a variation on bootstraps by the looks of it.
Yep. Bunks on the bottom wall instead of the top, which is a little slower, I believe. A 3 cycle instead of a 2.
Possibly, but got them through their lives, so it can't be. So it's not a bad strat, that's for sure.
Absolutely. As he's proven, you can't argue with what works.
And, Final Flame finishing off the second Master Stalfos fight. And while Giuocob heads off to open up D6. Which is actually a fantastic time to talk a little bit about what one of the other things Bow Wow does for us that truly makes him one of our best friends in this game.
Yeah, Bow Wow can eat cutscenes. And if you've never seen this run before, yeah, you heard correctly. Bow Wow can eat cutscenes. Honestly, I am not well equipped enough to even tell you how this works. But basically, I think he fired it in the wrong direction. Actually,
he did.
Yeah.
He fired it up instead of the left.
Yeah. So we actually didn't get to see it there. But Bow Wow would have eaten the cutscene. If you fire a bomb arrow, basically, there's an empty sprite where the bomb arrow was fired and went away. And Bow Wow can eat that, and when Bow Wow eats that, it frees Link's movement. He can actually move through it essentially stops the dungeon opening cutscene, so that Link can move through it. And it saves about 5 seconds in that particular situation. We do the same thing in D7, except in a slightly different way.
Yeah, and since the dungeon opening cutscenes are not quick, being able to basically just leave and have them take care of themselves off screen is preferable.
I think in both cases you can do it. It saves about 5 seconds. D6 and D7.
Yeah, it's 5 seconds I'll happily take, and so will anyone else playing this game.
Yep. So Giuocob just picked up the L2 bracelet, which, as Crunchy mentioned a little bit before, the D2. The L2 bracelet serves as a flag, which stops the ghost from appearing when you complete D4. So now, right after D6, Giuocob's going to go complete D4.
Giuocob going for swag strats in that tile room.
Yeah, not even the invincibility. Props.
Absolutely. I don't think I've seen someone do it that way. Oh, the bomb was a little bit too high. Doesn't get that 4th whiz robe. But anyways, Final Flame getting the hook shot, and Giuocob about to express his love for super jumps by doing several of them in a row here.
I like to call this segment parkour. There we go. D6 parkour.
That's actually a really good way of putting it. I like that.
However, there's a super jump coming up, which can prove to be really soft lock prone. There's a 3-pixel window that you can, a 3-pixel window on the Y coordinate that you can stand in and do a super jump here. And you also have to be at the max height for your super jump, and Giuocob pulled it off pretty well there.
Yeah, in other spots, the game is pretty forgiving as far as how the window for activating the super jump. And this one, if you do it too late, you won't have the distance, and you can possibly get stuck in the wall.
Yep. Now we have the completely skill-oriented horse heads. There we go. Giuocob exhibiting great skill there on the horse heads. I believe he got 3rd try. It's actually completely luck-based. It's RNG.
Skill horse.
Nothing you can do about it.
And speaking of complete skill, we're on our way to the most skill-intensive boss of them all.
If you thought that was hard, wait until you see this.
Taking a page out of, I forgot the name of the D4 key boss already. Landmolus, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, Landmola.
Taking a page out of the invisible hitbox book here for a moment.
So you can damage Facade, the D6 boss, before he spawns, or before he appears. He basically has a hitbox you can bomb before he actually shows up.
And damage it we do. And Final Flame actually having a pretty good wall snake as well.
Yeah, ever since the controller issues, he's been having a really solid run, honestly.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I was able to work that out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this means that even if he has an even better run than before, the run is still invalidated, but
yeah.
Still, if you can do it once, you can do it again. Oh, Giuocob getting...
Nice bomb trigger there by Giuocob. So that saves about 5 seconds as well, or about 4 seconds, 4.5.
Is it that much, really?
Yeah, yep.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that much, because it's both there and after D3 that you can use bomb triggers to skip the owl flying in and flying out.
The only reason that the D3 owl skip saves less time is because you have to menu for bombs.
Oh, that's right.
And then menu back.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. So yeah, so the owl flying in and flying away, skipping that saves a lot of time.
Okay. But Final Flame now on his way to the
Flannel Flame.
Flannel Flame, oh my god. What? How would that even... Aaron, you know what? Never mind.
No, of all the people who can hack on others for mixing up their words, I cannot be that guy. I absolutely cannot, so I apologize.
I'm not even mad.
So Giuocob doing a pretty neat super jump there off the P-hat and clinking off it to reach that top level. And now he's going to fight another impossible boss. Just incredibly difficult.
Cold my...
He's dead. Okay. All right, we're fine. That was close. So 3 bomb arrows wrecks anglerfish.
I mean, it could have. You got lucky this time.
Yeah, he got lucky. He got really lucky, actually. You have to get lucky to beat that boss, actually. Like, every time.
And yeah, I know I said Moblin Skip was the most reset heavy point in this run. It's actually anglerfish.
Yeah.
Oh, Final Flame, be careful. Oh no. Yeah, Harmos Knight does 1.5 hearts of damage if you touch him, so... And that's pretty much what he tries to do the entire time. He just wants to give you a hug.
A deadly hug.
He gets so very lonely in the Armos maze. But now that D4 is finished, Giuocob is on his way up into the mountains, where he will stay for pretty much the entire rest of the run. But coming up now is... I want to say the most free trick in the entire run. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Okay, so coming up is a trick called Rooster Skip. It's basically the skip in this run. So ordinarily, you have to go to Mabe Village. First off, you have to actually have the Ocarina, which, by the way, we still don't have and we'll never get. We don't. So you have to have the Ocarina and you have to know the Frog Song of Soul. Go to Mabe Village, wake up the rooster in the statue, and then go ahead and do this segment by flying over the hole. However, speedrunners don't do that because it takes way too much time. Instead, what Giuocob's going to do, and hopefully successfully, is do something called hookshot jumping over this pit, and it involves 2 jumps, sometimes 3. 2 jumps over a large pit. And when you use the hookshot over a pit, which you can do, you have 1 frame when the hookshot's retracting back to you to jump off of that hole. So let's see if you can pull it off. And it is, again, 2 jumps. They're both frame perfect. It's a very, very, very hard trick, actually. It's not free like we were joking about.
Yeah, thankfully you can keep shooting the hook shot. Oh! And that's the drawback to Rooster Skip, is that unlike pretty much every other cave in the game, if you fall down a pit in that cave, you get knocked back out to here, and it takes you like 20 to 30 seconds to get back. So each attempt is a costly mistake.
And with that thought looming in your head, too, it can make Rooster Skip all the more difficult.
Yeah, it's also possible to do it buffered, but Giuocob is an old hand at this.
Giuocob will not buffer Rooster Skip.
Yeah, well,
I guarantee you.
Well, yeah, he's also from a time from before the buffering strat being discovered, so even if he knew, he wouldn't. But he gets it.
There he is. Nice. Well done the second time.
Uh-oh, Final Flame's clock and stream have completely frozen.
Yep. Yeah, Giuocob will never, ever, ever. He's one of those runners that will never, ever do buffered Rooster Skip.
Oh my goodness! I hope Final Flame just had a little bit of internet hiccups and he's.
Yeah, it looks like, honestly, it looks like that's what happened.
Okay, yeah, it looks like.
I saw it jump.
All right. No, but even joking aside, though, there is no shame in buffering Rooster Skip. It is a very difficult trick, and even experienced runners will buffer the trick. Because it's better to debatably it's, depending on who you ask, it's better to buffer and get it than to unbuffer and reset this late into the run.
True, definitely true. I know some runners though. I've talked to a few runners who have just said, like, nope, I'm never buffering it. I will never buffer it.
I would like to learn unbuffered strats,
people.
But yeah. Yeah, no, I would definitely love to. I definitely need to dedicate the time to learn unbuffered strats at some point. But in the meantime, I like this game too much to not play it because of a single trick. So
yeah, true. Of course, all the runners I talked to who've said that were like come from an era before buffered was a thing. So there's something telling in that. So Giuocob entering D7 now. And this is not your mommy's D7. So what happens is we bomb trigger all of these pillars like that, as opposed to going to get the ball. Who needs the ball, right?
Yeah. Bombs are round. It'll do the job.
Another way to do bomb triggers, by the way, which I didn't mention because it wasn't relevant until now, you can also do a bomb trigger by dropping 2 bombs down a pit within 4 frames of each other.
Yep, well that one is faster since you don't have to do any menu buffering if that's what you want to do. It's also a bit riskier if your mashing isn't on point, because you can totally drop your entire inventory worth of bombs into a pit and not cause a bomb trigger if you're not mashing fast enough. So
I've never done that in my life, actually. I'm kidding.
Okay, your mashing game is better than mine, which is completely simple. I'm not the best at mashing.
Something I have never done, except I have multiple times. Not fun.
No, I'd imagine not, especially this late in the run.
So Giuocob opting not to do Goomba Surf, which is very RNG heavy, instead doing a pretty neat strat, in my opinion, clinking off of the P-hat there onto the pegs, and going the other unintended route to the boss, skipping the boss key.
It's a little bit slower than Goomba Surf, but it's less RNG, and honestly, that's actually the one I know. So I actually like that one.
So there are, in fact, 2 ways to skip the boss key in D7.
Yep. Oh, Finalflame about to see how good his skill is at the horse heads.
Yep.
That was okay. Not quite as good as Giuocob. I think Finalflame probably needs to have a little bit more horse head practice before his next race.
Practice that a little more.
Meanwhile, we weren't paying attention. Giuocob fed Evil Eagle some bombs, and he is now exploding.
Delicious.
I suppose it's preferable to the old strat of feeding him a little bit of fire, which could need some serious Pepto for that, but it's also slower, so we do these.
Slightly slower, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's faster overall. A little bit of LADX lore, even though it's not that, it wasn't that long ago. There was a recent route change. We used to do D8 before D7, but we no longer do that. So instead, now we do D7 before D8, and we can do that trick that Giuocob just did there. We can actually buffer a save and quit menu and avoid falling in that hole, which you're ordinarily forced to fall in, and that brings you down towards D4, or down to the cave by D4. We used to do D8, then D7, then D4, and then go straight to the Windfish Egg. But this route overall saves about 35 seconds over the route we used to do in the overworld.
And
however, the downside, though, is that we don't have Fire Rod for Evil Eagle, so we have to use bombs.
Yeah, and when TJ says that it's a recent change, I've been running this game for less than a year, and when I learned it, the one he described, D8, D7, D4 was the primary strat when I learned this game. So it's a very recent change.
Yeah, it can't really be considered lore, can it? I don't know.
Well, it's speed lore.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow, I like the way you think. Yeah, speed lore. Yeah.
that makes you the only one.
Speed.
No, but oh yeah, so
going for flame skip. There it is.
Yeah, the game wants you to get the level 2 shield, but considering how little use we got out of the level 1 shield, why would we need another one?
Shields are pretty worthless in Zelda.
Unless the game forces you to use them.
Yeah. Even then, even then they're useless.
Yeah. Chances are whoever speedruns the game will figure out a way to get around it, which is good. But now it's time for Turtle Rock, which if you played this game when you were younger, you might remember as being the longest, most obnoxious dungeon. But it's a lot less so when you speedrun. Because we know where all the holes you can blow in the wall are, and we're just going to be taking advantage of all the tricks you've been using so far to make this dungeon really quick.
Giuocob doing old school sideways push block, wow, push block strats there.
Ooh. I always like seeing some of these strats that remind me of when I learned the game. It's like, oh, makes you feel like I'm not so much of a newbie at this. Oh, I totally am.
It's really neat, to be honest. It's neat to see the differences in the strats between runners, especially old school versus new school.
Yeah.
Giuocob is definitely old school.
And one of the other cool things about it is, even though the new route is no one's going to debate that it's faster, the difference is not so great that you can't put up a seriously good time with old strats, which is why a lot of folks who feel more comfortable with them will still use them.
Cransoon in chat asks, is it weird for strats to give me nostalgia? It is absolutely not. I'm
Nope.
feeling the same, honestly. Blano's down. And a nice super jump up onto the pegs to get the fire rod.
Yeah, unfortunately, speaking of old strats that will not be making a comeback, Blano skip. Shout out to
Blano skip. Rest in peace.
I'm sure Blano's thrilled, though. We didn't get any visitors.
Blano is always happy. He just seems happy, I don't know. Just happy to be here.
So many, like everyone in this game is happy to be here. You have like the face keys smiling. You have the default door. It just looks so excited.
You have Kirby. Kirby's happy to be there. Like, have you ever seen the Kirby sprite?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's delighted. He's just jovial.
This game is just a happy game. It's full of happiness.
Yep. Giuocob coming up to, or he is in, excuse me, the room. Not the one with Tommy Wiseau, but the one with push block. There we go.
What?
That's another room too. Where it's fun to see how every runner does that room.
Yeah, because everyone does it a little bit differently. And now to the last trick you're going to be seeing in this game, Jesus jumping on Giuocob's screen. If you pause in the same frame you land in the lava, you can actually buffer a jump and clip into the wall to just go straight to the boss door.
Yep.
And now Hothead, which...
Now for the stupidest boss in the game.
Yes.
The one who... I don't think anybody's really positive how his health works. But Giuocob getting a nice quick 2-cycle there. Pretty well done.
Oh,
in the meantime, final flame on Rooster Skip.
Takes a bit of a tumble. Looks like his first jump didn't put him into a ideal spot there, but earlier today he got it on a second try, so we're gonna see if he can do that again. Hopefully, because one of the things about Rooster Skip is if you miss it once, sometimes it gets inside your head a little bit. So hopefully,
it's easy to tilt. Absolutely, on Rooster Skip. His position again is a little bit low.
Yeah.
But he would have been able to pull it off anyway. But he got screwed over by a frame rule.
Yeah. If global frame rules aren't on your side, and it's possible to fall on the first frame you land, which you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's any number of things that can go wrong. You can have the global frame rule just like that. Bow Wow can block your hook shot, which throws you off. You just hope none of those things happen, but sometimes they just do. Oh no!
And sometimes that can happen too. That first jump is deceptively difficult.
Yeah. But meanwhile, Giuocob about to do set up a bomb trigger here. Since again we don't have the ocarina because we don't need it, because Link can actually play the bomb at a symphony level. Look at him. Look at those musical notes coming out of that bomb.
It's impressive. I played the bomb in high school, but I couldn't progress past that.
So, I tried to, but they wouldn't let me have it in the marching band. I'm not sure why.
I can kind of see that.
Shoot, the music is so tear-jerking, and even Bow Wow is stunned. He's not even moving. Look at him.
That was a good listener, honestly.
Best listener.
Except when you're telling him not, and except when you're yelling at your TV screen for him not to eat enemies, or to eat enemies instead. Or to eat the flowers in front of D2.
Well, he's got a weird hunger, Bow Wow does, and he can't help it. He's a dog. Oh, Final Flame looking good.
Yep.
We can set up for the second jump, assuming he doesn't
Yep.
have any sub-pixel nonsense.
Yeah, it looks like he's got it. Yep, that's it. And
All right, he's
select
got it.
buffer, and there it is.
Nice. Well done, Final Flame.
In the meantime, we have Giuocob. Wow, he figured out the egg maze. Wow, that was no, it's actually fixed. If you
What are you
don't
talking
read the
about?
book, if you don't read the book in the library, the pattern is always left, left, up, right, right, up, left, up, in order to get to the final boss.
No, shoot, I was gonna say that it is a random 7 directions every time you have to guess. Most
Yep.
common reset point in the run. I'm pretty sure that's the third time I say something is the most common reset point in this run. So, for those of you playing along at home,
Everything is the most common reset point.
it's true. There are actually a lot of reset points, but yeah, here we are, still playing this game.
All right, let's see how Giuocob fares with Aghanim. Okay, so we got one blue ball. So Aghanim has a 50-50 chance after the first 2 regular balls that he fires at you to give you either a regular ball or a blue ball. And so far, he's had the worst possible RNG.
Yeah, and unfortunately, unlike Aghanim in Link to the Past, there is no maximum number of blue balls before you get another yellow ball. If Aghanim Nightmare wants to, he can give you blue balls until the end of time.
Yep.
Thankfully, it doesn't seem to be the case here, but it totally could happen. What's
There we
I
go.
heard someone's record we've witnessed is like 20.
I believe it's 17.
Oh my, that's still a lot.
I'm
he
actually
dropped-
not too far off that.
Unfortunately, he
I had
drops Oldorm. I'm sorry.
I was about to say I actually had 15 in a race on this channel not too long ago.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And then died, and then came back and got 2 more. So I guess that's 17.
What?
It happened. All right, so Deathel. So Deathel can open up his eye basically whenever he feels like it. It's complete RNG, but once he does, you have a certain amount of time. You can actually get 4 arrows in.
Well, if he opens his eye, you can.
If
Come on,
he ever
Deathel.
opens his eye, if he does so today, there we go. The timing for 4 arrows though is actually pretty. It's not lenient.
Yeah, but so ideally, since it takes 16 arrows, you get a 4 cycle, but it ends up usually more often not being 5 or sometimes 6 if you have trouble. You know, Final Flame getting the 4 pillars in pretty short order, so he's on his way up to Evil Eagle. But Giuocob giving Deathel the death blow. And in a moment here, once the screen fades to white, that'll be the end of his run. And just like that, Giuocob finishes with an SRL time of 58 minutes and 27 seconds.
GG.
GG to Giuocob.
Yep, pretty good run for Geo.
Looks like Final Flame debated for a moment trying Goomba Surf, but instead he's going to go for the... Oh,
Ooh, that
didn't
was
quite get
close.
up on the pegs.
There you go.
You gotta do it pretty quick, otherwise the BMOS gives you trouble and the P-Hat moves, so...
Yep, I remember when I was learning this game, that was one of the hardest tricks for me to pull off for some reason.
Yeah,
Definitely not easy to do.
Yeah, I remember learning Dungeon 7. I actually had a harder time with that than I did with the bomb triggers for the pillars. Yeah, Grand Soon, you're not the only one. I totally wish that they were faster than Goomba Surf. And 3 bombs, 3 hits. Evil Eagle is done.
There are a couple of different ways to time the bombs on Evil Eagle. You'll see the Final Flame just mashed bombs as soon as Evil Eagle left the screen. But you can also use the hook shot and like use the time when that retracts back to you to lay a bomb as well.
Really?
You can also use an audio cue, which is a little bit weirder.
Yeah, the one I've always heard is just basically pick up and throw the bomb as soon as it leaves the screen flying up.
Yep. I might be the only one in the community that uses an audio cue for that, but I'm weird though. Oh, Final Flame just accidentally saved and quit on the save and quit buffer.
Oh, no. Thankfully,
it's okay though. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. It didn't actually like it doesn't mean anything for the legitimacy of the race because he still visited the same room.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and thankfully he doesn't have to. Oh no,
that's a little bit worse. That's a little bit worse.
Oh no.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's gonna cost him a bit of time. So I don't see Giuocob.
It's happened to everyone.
Yeah, it's kind of like messing up the save and quit buffer and just taking a drop down to the water near D4. That's happened to people too.
Yep. A lot of people would say you aren't a true LADX runner unless you've done this thing, and this thing, and I would say that is one of those things.
Yeah. That's actually one of the other things that's great about this community is the fact that if you think you've done the most embarrassing thing possible in a run, there's undoubtedly someone who's done something equally, if not more, embarrassing in a run. So there is no shame.
He's got the lineup for obstacle skip. Oh, he moved. I think he's... Nope, he moved. He had it, and then he moved.
Obstacle skip, of course, being one of the very best kind of tricks, the ones that save you very little time and cost you a lot more time if you screw them up.
Yep. I don't think we ever even described obstacle skip in this one.
I don't think we did either. I think we were distracted by rooster skip.
Shameful, yeah.
Oh my gosh. We better fix that right now, then. So yeah, that last crystal in that room, it's possible to set up to jump around it without breaking through it with Pegasus shoes. Saves you half a second, and screwing it up usually means you either don't go anywhere or fall down the hole, which costs a lot more time than half a second.
It's actually not even half a second. I think it was timed out, and it's about like 10 frames, maybe 15 frames.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. Yeah, we should be banned for never explaining that, to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh.
So, Crunchy, how does it feel to be banned?
I don't know, it hasn't quite sunk in yet. I'll probably just go to sleep and I'll wake up crying in the middle of the night when it hits me, I don't know.
Same. It's really a shame, honestly.
Oh well, at least I enjoyed my limited time in the community. Bye, everybody. I mean, what Bow Wow's doing, I don't know what Bow Wow's doing on those two screens. For some reason, he just kind of flies around everywhere.
Yeah, the game doesn't like Bow Wow being in some spots in the game. It's a lot more apparent in the original Link's Awakening, but GX handles it a little better, specifically with lag. But in those few screens, Bow Wow just kind of flies all over the place. Just some graphical glitches.
Bow Wow's trying to grow up to be the bird that he always wanted to be. That's a valid point. Considering that you had this fantastical, magical island adventure, the fact that the game ends with you being afloat on flotsam in the middle of the ocean and with nothing in sight is not exactly what I would call a good ending. But Final Flame now in D8, so he's probably gonna be doing the newer strats for this dungeon. So let's.
He might be having controller issues again. He can't charge his boots.
Yeah. Oh gosh, he might be having trouble again. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be able to hold his sword out.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't cause him. Hopefully he can work it out or work through it. Oops. Accidentally putting... There we go.
Yeah, again, not the first time that Final Flame has had troubles with this controller in this run. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Fortunately, he happened to have 2 runs really close to each other on the same day today, so he didn't really have much time to work it out. Hopefully he can definitely get it worked out by his next race. Yeah, there's a couple of underground sections where you want to basically appear and then immediately fall off the ladder, and it's not always quite as easy as it looks. It also I think it's in D2 and in D6.
D2 definitely. I don't recall D6.
Oh, in D6 it's more so you can grab onto the ladders while that giant flamey thing bounces around. But D2 it's more so because if you miss, you land on the spikes and just take multiple hits.
Yep. Well, he didn't have any problems charging a sword for Bueno there, so that's some positive news.
Yeah, so I guess his controller is behaving again. At least we hope so.
I want to say he uses a USB NES controller. Don't quote me on that, but I remember watching his stream and he had a diagram of a NES controller.
Possibly, but at the same, or it could just be because this is a Game Boy Color game, which had the same button layout as the NES. So it could be. I genuinely wonder about that now. Okay, some folks in chat saying he apparently uses apparently an iBuffalo controller.
Gotcha.
Now they make multiple controllers, so I don't know what kind it is. Cransoon says it might be an iBuffalo SNES controller. Could be. I do not have any experience with that controller myself, so I couldn't tell you.
I do. I can confirm. I can confirm what Cransoon said.
Okay. Oh.
It can work for some people, but for speedrunning purposes, it's like, eh.
Yeah. It's one of those things where sometimes a controller is functional, but if it doesn't feel good in your hands and responsive, then it can make a world of difference in speedrunning. It's actually one of the reasons that, for better or worse, I use an SP for pretty much everything that's handheld, just because I have not yet to find something that works better, that feels better in my hand, you know? And Hothead just not being very cooperative, though. There we go. Final Flame says, tweet cheap controller recommendations to him at Finalflame83, so not even joking, so everyone go ahead and do that.
The side wang.
Side wang.
I can appreciate a little side wang every now and again.
And Giuocob apparently played this on a GameCube controller, which, wow,
Yep, I used to play on GameCube as well. I recently switched, but yeah, GameCube controller is pretty legit, except for the D-pad.
Yeah, I was about to, yeah, that's a part that would kill me, just because I would feel compelled to use the D-pad. I'm just like, the GameCube D-pad's just
Yeah.
it's weird.
Well, I use the joystick. For
Really?
things, yeah. But now that I've switched to an SP, a Game Boy Advance SP, to play in it. It feels way better to me.
No, yeah, the SP is. I'm hard pressed to think of anything that'd beat it for playing a game like this.
Once you go cube, you'll never improve.
I was imagining once you go cube, you'll never improve, and I'm just like, hang on a second. I can't improve.
Once you go cube, you won't be a noob. That's as good as I got.
Yeah, I'll just be sitting here in silence for a few minutes trying to come up with a better terrible joke. So I'm just not gonna do that. Sorry, Giuocob.
Finalflame having a little bit of trouble with the bomb trigger. There we go.
All right. Now it's time for our final bomb symphony of the night here. And I don't care what Majora's Mask says. This is the actual Ballad of the Windfish. And a better game, fight me IRL.
Wait, there's a bout of the Windfish in Majora's Mask?
Yeah, it's the side quest you do in the milk bar where you have to go up on stage with the different forms and play different things, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is their old standby, the Ballad of the Windfish." I remember Majora's Mask when I got that, I was like, "This is not the Ballad of the Windfish."
Come on, that's fake.
Doesn't sound anything
You
like
gotta be kidding me. What? No, that's not right. That's shameful.
It's not even like
yeah, you're completely right.
So they had no excuse to not use this. It's not like they don't have the rights to this, for goodness sake. Alright, but now Finalflame has to correctly guess the 7 direction sequence here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay, he decided to go right. That's fine, it's fine. Second guessed himself a bit, doing it again, but...
The worst thing about this is that you don't know if you got it right or wrong until you... Wow, he did it. Wow, okay.
God, 2 for 2.
Yeah, you don't know if you got it right until you actually complete it.
And you got the tech skip too, very nice.
Yeah.
I'm bad at mashing, I usually don't get tech skip.
The Bob trolled him.
That's okay. There's a reason. This is another one of the reasons why I pick up powder early on, just in case.
Yep. That's completely RNG, by the way. The blob quick kill. It depends on. I believe it's the direction he moves, or the blob moves after the first hit. So if he moves in a certain, if he moves down at all, I don't know the specifics, but it depends on the way he moves. It's very, very slight.
Yeah. Although, unfortunately, because he got the tech skip, we don't get the Jammin' Nightmare fight music. Let's see how Aghanim luck. Oh! Oh my goodness.
And yes, the lack of music in the fight is due to the bomb trigger they did at the beginning of the fight to skip the text.
Yeah.
The music doesn't trigger.
2 blue balls so far. 3 blue balls, and he also missed a shot, so he still needs to get 2 more hits as well. Alright, 1 more hit. Come on.
There it is.
There we go. Get out of here, Aghanim. Go back to your game.
Another quick kill.
Ooh, gets the setup. Very nice.
Yeah, he seemed a little bit early on the spin slash, but he recovered well, so that's very nice.
You know, time to practice football tackles with Ganon here.
Linebacker.
And now, directly to Deathloop, there is no actual other phase here. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, that was Lamola, by the way. That is called Nightmare Lamola. I'm not joking.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It looks nothing like Lamola. It behaves nothing like Lamola.
Well,
But
of course not,
it's Nightmare Lamola.
because we kill it before it moves.
Yeah. Well, I guess in that sense, yeah, it behaves like Lamola.
Come on, Final Flame, be careful. Deathel still does a lot of damage if you let him hit you with his arms.
That's true. He's a little low on health, but I think he's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think one more round, and there we go.
There it is.
There's
we
the
go.
finishing hit. And unfortunately, because of the saving and quitting, his run is invalid. But again, this is another time that is minutes ahead of his PB. So Final Flame continues.
He's really due for a PB.
Oh yeah, no,
Well,
he's
once he gets his controller settled and figured out, yeah, he's definitely due. He's gonna PB by a mile, like the next legitimate run he does.
No, absolutely, he's definitely improving by leaps and bounds. And he finishes with a time of 1:15:06, and let's see if he wants to talk to us.
I don't think he does. He said, "I'm not sure I even want to do an interview." Okay, he's in.
Oh, he's going to be generous. I'll drag him down. Hello, Final Flame. Sorry about the controller trouble, but again, finishing minutes ahead of your PB.
Yeah. Hold on, let me mute my desktop audio real quick in case we get double again.
All right.
So, yeah. That's one, again, never had that happen before. So, if anyone has any cheap controller recommendations, because I'm poor, tweet them at FinalFlameMC. I am in the market. By the way, anyone want to buy an iBuffalo SNES controller? It may or may not be in one piece, no guarantees.
Would you like to buy plastic shards of various sizes and shapes?
Right?
Yeah, well, I was saying right before you, or right when you finished, like you were really due for a huge PB as soon as you finish a legitimate run, like with the
right?
Yeah, you're really due for one.
I mean,
That's the second run
and,
today. You've had a legitimate lead on your PB.
Yeah, and there were good and bad parts to that run. A piece of power count got all screwed up because of the whole save and quit. Which at least I could save and quit that time. I was smart enough to do that. And so that messed that up. My menuing, really just need to practice that. It's like, you saw me take some extra time in the menus on purpose. I knew I wasn't going to win. So I may as well at least try and learn it during this run. And get used to everything.
Definitely just helps the more runs you do, for sure.
Yeah.
With menuing.
And at least I got a side wing. Better than nothing. Certainly better than the 0 for 3 obstacle skip.
I was saying, you can appreciate a little side wing now and then, you know?
Right?
Yeah.
Had I had time to type it, I'd have said that's about the only way this run could get any worse if I don't get the wing.
But get it, you did.
Yep.
And Giuocob in here as well. GG, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It was pretty good for better than I expected. At least I'm happy with it.
Definitely a pretty clean run.
Yeah. And I was definitely happy to see some of the older movement through some of the dungeons, which reminds me of when I first learned this game, not that long ago, actually.
I need to find out which ones are actually old so I can do the new stuff instead.
Yeah, that one I was saying, as well as some people in chat were saying, like, for instance, the D8 sideways block push.
Do we not do that anymore?
No, we do
instead?
we do a swordless super jump now. Like,
okay.
But man, that made us nostalgic. That was awesome. That was really awesome.
Yeah, I need to watch some modded runs.
Also, the alternate route coming out of D3, or maybe not alternate. It's just like a different route, as opposed to jumping over the water and going back the way you came to D3, like going the other way.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That's actually a lot slower. I need to not do that.
It's not that much slower.
It's not that bad, yeah, but
no.
It's something I never seen
really
before,
cool
so it was
watch.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's making a list of new stuff I have to learn. But I mean, I just started practicing again over the last couple of days, and it came back pretty quickly, so I was happy about that. I didn't know how much warmer time I was going to need.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of like riding a bicycle. It comes back to you pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. This is one bike I've been on and off a whole lot of times, so it comes back. I love this game.
Yeah, you're
The best game.
definitely one of the most experienced bicyclists or cyclists, whatever. I don't know. Point being, you're like basically. I would use the word honestly, like pretty much a legend of the game, to be honest. And
That's a really strong word.
We expect nothing less than for somebody like you to come back and be able to get right back on it, like you did, like you have been.
Well, hopefully I'll keep improving over the next few weeks, however long I get to stay in this tournament for.
Well, you get I want to say 3 rounds no matter what. Just
Yeah,
because
so
of
I
the
got
nature.
it's group stages, right? So I got 2 more at least.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep on the grind.
Glad to hear it.
Yep.
Here we hear Final Flame smashing his controller against the table.
I hope that's not what
I'd
I'm
love
doing
to.
right
No, that was my drinking cup. I'd love to smash it or burn it. Maybe throw it in the middle of this hurricane.
Do
Something
it
up-
live. Do it live on stream right now. Just try.
Oh yeah, burn it. Make sure
You
there's
know, I
ventilation. 'Cause
want
There's
to,
probably something
but-
terrible in it.
My backup is a Genesis controller. I'm not ready to try and use that in this game.
Oh my god, that would just you would get so much swag. So many swag points for playing a Game Boy game with a Genesis controller. Are you kidding me?
I can do it. I got the hardware.
Woo! Yeah, just map like select to A or something, and you have C and B as A and B, and hey, there you go, there you go.
It would certainly help with some of these menus.
I mean, Genesis has 6 buttons and like the right cloister, right? You have your entire D-pad and A and B right there. Don't even need to touch the analog stick or the D-pad.
Yeah, my 6
Oh,
button isn't that
everything.
good though. I'd stick with the 3 button.
Oh,
I swear by those 3-button controllers, man. That's just Genesis.
Actually, that 3 button controller has turbo as well. No, I'll find a different one.
Ah. Yeah, at this point, I think you're ready to swear off turbo for
I've never
Ever.
even used it. Like, I was.
Well, now you
"Hey,
have."
What the heck? What
it
is going
feels
on?
neglected.
You could tell I didn't even know how to turn it off. I figured it out in DA. I'm like, you know what? Let me try this, and it worked. Otherwise, I was about to try and save and quit again.
I don't really know what sort of game that feature is even for, because a lot of controllers have it. I guess it's so you can cheat at Mario Party or something.
I guess. Ooh.
Well,
Man, it's a good thing there's nothing coming after this. We can just shoot the breeze here and just talk about controllers and LADX for as long as we want.
let's not talk about controllers. Unless it's recommendations for me, that's it. And no, I'm not going to keyboard.
We can talk about how the 3 best songs in the game you don't even get to hear anymore. It's one by one they've been stripped out of the run. Till there's
Pretty
no
soon we
fun
won't
left.
even hear the Battle of the Windfish anymore.
So that's 4. That's my 4th best. Yeah. So you
No, we hear the Ballad of the Windfish.
you do actually.
Yeah, I
when
said
you'll-
pretty.
yeah,
I said pretty soon. We
almost.
won't.
Yeah. Well, we have Mambo, Frog Song, and the final boss theme are all gone,
No, Mambo's Mambo. Oh!
and now all I hear is sadness.
Aw.
That frog song though.
The Frog Song is. But that's a hard sell for that versus Mambo for number 1.
So I think that's all the questions I got. To Final Flame Giuocob, you got anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to say? Any other messages for your fans out there?
I swear I'll get a legitimate PB at some point. I still have one more tournament race, even if I'm out.
Well said. Well said.
Glad to
What about
hear
you,
it, dude.
Giuocob?
I'm gonna keep playing the game. That's all I got.
That's illegal, actually. You can't do that.
Oh dang. Well, maybe I won't then.
Yeah.
Well, he can. We're the ones who've been banned for not talking about obstacle skip.
Yeah, we banned ourselves for not mentioning obstacle skip throughout the entire run until Final Flame83 was last one.
Well, everyone mentions optical skip.
I thought about doing a reverse obstacle skip at that point. I just wanted to get
Reverse
it over with.
obstacle skip would be
Yeah,
so
let's
swag.
Let's go back and forth forever.
You can see, I even lined the last one.
Rack
up or
up
tried
the
to.
obstacle skip count. I missed 2, but I got the other 44, so really
I'm,
good percentage.
I'm also sad both races today, my D7s, the Goombas were not kind. And I told myself going in, I'd give Goomba Surf one attempt if they worked out, and none of them wanted to move right.
But to be fair, it's not a bad way of doing it. Just kind of lining up for it once, and if it doesn't cooperate, just go do the other strat. It's not a bad way to do it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to do it, though.
I think I missed both of mine too, actually.
No, there you go. We're all banned from now. Not
That's
much we can
okay.
do about that.
It's alright. It just means you're at a tournament. Not that big of a deal.
So my ban from Speedruns Live, I'll have to sneak in there somehow then.
Who is this Giuocob guy?
Why have I never used that name for anything before? That's now on my list.
I'm helping. Oh boy.
Well, GG to both of you. That was a really fun race to watch.
Yeah, absolutely it was. Thank you very much, both of you.
Oh, thanks a lot for commentating.
Indeed.
But
No problem.
and thank you very much, as always, to Feasel for keeping everything running behind the scenes. We wouldn't be able to do this without him.
Absolutely.
And thank you for TGH for stepping up, because for the longest time I thought I'd be doing this alone, and it's been an absolute great time. And you knew a lot more about this game than I do.
No problem. Thanks for putting up with me.
But with that, I think we're going to be wrapping it up for LADX tonight, and I think actually we're wrapping it up for everything on Speed Gaming. I don't think there's anything else happening tonight. Let me double check that. I don't want to give you bad information. Yeah, it looks like unless Super Metroid Rando is still running, Speed Gaming is done for the night. Nothing else until more Super Metroid Rando tomorrow at 11. But we will have more LADX tomorrow at 5 p.m. if you need your fix. So be sure to come back and join us then. Otherwise, that's going to do it for us for tonight. So, again, GG to Final Flame and Giuocob. Thanks everyone for watching, and have yourselves a good night. Someone else say good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
So forced. Good night, everyone.
Night.
That's why they have commentary duos. No one knows who's supposed to add what. Sit
Well,
here in silence.
That's half the fun.
And there's another BB not safe in live split.
Don't worry, Final Flame.
Yeah,
Soon.
You have a massive PV. coming
At
down
least
the
this
pipe
one
sometime
counted
very
for
soon.
the tournament.
That's right, it did.
That's why I kept going, because I knew it still counted there.
Oh crap, I have to say goodnight again, don't I? Alright. No, for reals though. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been fun. Have a good night.
Good night.
Do I have to say good night again? Good night, everyone.